Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Should You Play, the series where I talk about games from the perspective of a busy lifestyle. Personally, I have a full-time job, family, and little time to play video games, so I stay up late at night and sacrifice sleep to get my gaming sessions in. Questions I have for you today is, Mouse PI for hire. Is it worth your time, and should you play? First, what is Mouse PI for hire? Well, it's set in the 1930s in the sprawling city of Mouseburg. He plays Jack Pepper, a war veteran, gambling enthusiast, and private investigator for hire. Your friend and journalist Wanda Fuller gives you a mission to find a missing magician, Steve Bandel, who also happens to be an old war buddy. As you hunt for clues around Mouseburg and movie sets, sewers, opera houses, and fancy parties and more, Jack starts to uncover a massive conspiracy, the local syndicates that involve kidnapping and trafficking the shrew community. You fight off wave after wave of armed mobsters, corrupt cops, and other creatures of the night. Can Jack use his office caseboard to piece together all the evidence and solve this mystery in time? Will this crime-ridden city be saved from deep-seated corruption? The Big Mouse Party may have something to say about that. All right, let's start talking about the things the game does right. The elephant in the room here, all right? Arguably the biggest draw to the game is that rubber hose animation style. This Cuphead-esque aesthetic blends the 2D and 3D animations throughout the game beautifully. You feel like you're living in a vintage cartoon where anything is possible. Fumi Games really brought a hand-drawn art style to life, and it makes for a perfect look to a mouse game. To go along with the visuals, the sound design was great as well. The high-energy soundtrack really set the mood for the combat, and during combat, right, it was triggering. In a good way, right? You knew when the combat started and when it ended, and during combat, this boomer shooter combat was really high energy, had that feel to it, and the music just helped blend that masterfully. When it comes to the storyline, Mouse PI for Hire has a noir story, right? That's engaging. It's full of corrupt conspiracies, detective shakedowns, clue tracking, and the don't mess with Jack Pepper attitude. Last but not least, the voice acting, in my opinion, was phenomenal. Troy Baker did a fantastic accent, snappy and dramatic dialogue that really truly made you feel like you were in the 1930s and you're playing as a rugged detective. Okay, wait. Last positive. I'm a sucker for card mini games. In games like Witcher 3 had Gwent, Final Fantasy 7 had Queen's Blood. There's a baseball mini game in this game, and it's not super deep by any means, but it was still fun playing it, collecting the cards throughout the world, buying the cards, and it was still exciting, right? But I'm just a sucker for card games and video games. Unfortunately, we do need to talk about things that I did not like with Mouse PI for Hire. The boomer shooter gameplay was absolutely fun, except when you're shooting these same 5 enemies every time. Start to kind of check out during fights. This was staged as a noir story, but the majority of the game is just action fight scenes, right? Even though I did enjoy the fight scenes, my negative comes from the lack of the detective moments. Okay, so yes, you're finding clues. Yes, those fight scenes are clearing out mobs to get to the mob boss, and you have to shake down him or her to get a clue. And once you get that clue, all it is just a scripted pin to the board, and then the dialogue follows. Right? You don't actually have that sense of I earned it. Right? I learned this on my own, right? I wish they would have made that detective side of the game just a little bit deeper, right? So I did feel like I earned it, right? I figured it out, not, oh, I just went through this level, killed all these mouses and animals or whatever, found a clue, pin it to the board, and it tells me what I need to do next. Now I get it's a linear story, but I feel like they could have maybe done something a little bit deeper with the narrative to make it feel like, oh, I am a detective. I figured this clue out. I pieced it together. Didn't really happen that way. you know. As long as you look around, with all the world and all the levels, and then you're kind of going to see everything, right? Like, I know it's supposed to be a narrative-based experience, but every game doesn't need to have an open world. I totally understand that, but if you just look around, like, you've found everything. Even the side quests too. It wasn't really too hard to just look around every turn, every corner, and you found everything, right? Again, I mentioned the card game earlier as a positive for me because, again, I'm a sucker for card games and video games. But I do understand the opposite coin. I understand the other side where this card game could actually be a negative, right? It's negative because it is very basic. It's not very deep at all. There were no quests attached to it, right? It was just a mouse in the corner of a bar to play against. Final Fantasy VII, I think, with Queen's Blood, actually did it really, really well. Even Gwent and Witcher 3, I mentioned those two games earlier. There were quests with those. There was people you had to go play against, like earn cards from them, level up, go against harder opponents, like build decks out. And again, maybe the baseball card game wasn't supposed to be the main focus of the game, but I do think that they could have, maybe in future DLCs, right, expand on that a little bit. I loved Gwent, I loved Queen's Blood, I enjoyed the baseball card game in this. It was fun. It just wasn't very deep by any means. So we come back to our original question. Should you play Mouse PI for hire? Well, the game is split between 6 chapters, roughly 24 story missions and 14 side missions. It'll take you about 15-ish hours to beat. That's how long it took me. On a busy schedule or dad life limited time, this game is absolutely fantastic for you because there are save points everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, every time you turn around, there happens to be a save point. So you could absolutely pop in, do an area or two, save the game, and just log out, right? So you could totally chunk this game out and play it on that busy lifestyle. I was constantly coming across save points. It was just insane. So in one word, should you play this game? Absolutely. The art style is just so different from anything out there. The boomer shooter game is gameplay is fun, engaging. The voice acting is wonderful. The music is a treat to your ears. And in my opinion, video games should be fun. They should be entertaining. They should provide a sense of escape from, real world stresses. And this game's only $30. $40 if you end up getting the deluxe edition, which comes with the Future Story DLC, a virtual comic book, and then the soundtrack to the game. But I truly feel that even that, it's worth your time and money, and you will find enjoyment out of the game. That's all I have to say. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the games, or leave your thoughts in the comments below on the game, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you liked about this review, what you didn't like about this review. Also, let me know any game that you are interested in seeing here on the channel. Thank you for watching. I hope you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. I appreciate you.